Hi everyone. I had a little bit of a hiccup before I started the session, this webinar, and it's interesting because it always reminds me of how we really need to be present and how much we need to actually be in touch with ourselves, not to get nervous if something doesn't go our way, and just like keep calm and have all possible tools for ourselves available so we can navigate. And our topic today is why motherhood can make you lose yourself, because and the connection is that when you are stressed about something else, we can easily lose ourselves, and we can easily lose a track of where we're going, what is it that we're doing, what's important, what's not that important for us, either at this very moment or like a bigger picture. So let's let's start. um I'm going to start with slightly uncomfortable. Okay, give me a second, please. um I'm going to start with slightly uncomfortable question. um if you are a mother, and I assume that you are a mother because that's the topic that you're interested in and you are here, have you had a situation when you would walk in the room, looked around, and thought, whose life is this? Who is, who lives that? Like, I love my kids, I love them dearly. um, you would die for them, you would do everything for family members, but also you haven't had a full thought process, and you couldn't formulate your own thoughts for 3 years, for instance, because you know how it happens when children are little. You constantly, like, you cannot even sit down and finish your thinking process, because you need to do this and you need to do that and you need to run here and you need to answer this email and school and husband and doctors, and it's constant. So you constantly do not belong to yourself, and a lot of people are talking in your head. And you know you used to have, before that, you used to have options. You could have sit here and think about it, you could have done this, and now it feels like you have little, like snacks, right? Like, I can bite this thought here, I can bite this problem here, but there is not continuation. Okay. And or another one is you go to the bathroom, right? Lock the door, and you just sit there doing something, right? Just kind of catching a moment, and suddenly this toilet turns into the most peaceful spa in your life, right? So, who didn't have it? I think we all had, right? But motherhood doesn't just change your schedule. Motherhood changes your identity. And nobody really warns you about that particular part of your life. No one actually explains to you. No one actually talks to you about it. No one actually tells you, be prepared for this. Be prepared that at some point you will forget about yourself totally. I can tell you one of the things that I had my own realization at the very beginning, even though I was prepared to a lot of things, but I remember at some point, all of a sudden, I caught myself on, I don't, I don't feel the urge to go to the restroom until I just have to go, because you're constantly doing something for somebody else. Okay, so and I'm sure that we all have it, right? And and people, when you are walking into motherhood experience, people talk to you about, they talk about diapers, they talk about breastfeeding, they talk about sleep deprivation, they talk about, nannies, and they talk about something else. But what they don't say, hey, you know what, you might slowly disappear as a person. Okay, and not even notice when it happens. No one tells us this. No one warns us that this is exactly what is happening when you're a mother. Okay, and what does losing ourselves really means? Let's define is very clear. Losing yourself in motherhood doesn't mean you don't love your kids. It doesn't mean you don't want them. It doesn't mean that you don't want a family and what comes with this. No. Losing yourself and having family has nothing in common, basically. The only thing that is happening with you is losing yourself, but they are not connected. It's a different situation that is happening. It means that you don't know what is it you like anymore. Okay, what you like anymore. You're kind of losing this this understanding. What is it that I like? You feel guilty wanting anything for yourself, like for instance, well, I want to go and spend the day in the spa, and you feel guilty because you think, well, who is going to take care of children? They're going to do this and that, and you feel guilt and you don't do it, right? Your entire value all of a sudden becomes equal to how well everyone else is doing, not just you. Okay, everybody else. Forget about you. You kind of like, you disappear. This is what I'm talking about. You are disappearing. You're thinking about everybody else. If children, like they are fat, they are like everything you did is in school properly, every, like, the husband, house, or whatever you have, but not you. Okay, so, and you're constantly feeling overwhelmed because also you weirdly numb. Okay, and this is something that no one addresses it. You're like machine. You're doing certain things, but you weirdly numb. Okay, and this is very important to hear. And here's the tricky part. From the outside, when somebody is looking at you from outside, everything looks very good. Okay, Everything looks okay. Wait a minute. Yeah, okay, something is happening. Wait. My computer today has been acting out, but I think it's because the topic is very important. That's why it acts out. Anyway, so from if somebody is looking at from outside your life and the way how you do things, everybody probably will say, "Oh my God, everything looks very fine in her life. What she's doing, how she's like running it. She's perfect." Okay, but before kids, you were like, "Well, I will never be one of those moms." Okay, you were thinking, and after kids you are negotiating with a tiny human why we don't lick the floor in Target, right? I am pretty sure that everyone had something like this when you were, like single or you didn't have kids. You would be looking at moms who would be dealing with somebody, and you go like, "Well, I'm not going to do it," right? And when you become a mom, you do silly things with a little tiny, like persona, okay? And you used to have boundaries, but now you have a toddler, right, eating crackers in your bed at 11 p.m., right? Who didn't have it? Everybody had something like this, right? So all of a sudden there is a shift, and a lot of people, a lot of moms feeling bad about themselves because like either you're thinking about it or you're not thinking about it, but internally you constantly have a question: am I okay? Am I doing right? Am I a good mother? Am I feeling like mom or something like this, right? So, but underneath all of this humor, there is something deeper that is happening. And I can, I can give you very funny stories all day long and we can laugh about it, but the deep value is this is something that no one explains. Motherhood activates something very primal in you. Your brain shifts into survival plus attachment mode. But no one, once again, I wanna specify, no one talks about it. No one explains that. No one prepares you for that. And I am sure that many of you hear what I am here telling you. You hear it first time in your life. Okay? And in that mode, right? That remember we were talking that your brain shifts to survival plus attachment mode. And in that mode, your needs go to the background. Okay? And your identity becomes functional. It sounds awful, but this is what's happening. And your nervous system is constantly on alert if something is right with others, right? With others. Okay? So you're losing yourself, and when you're losing yourself, it's not a failure. Okay? It's actually your system doing its job. But who knew it? No one. Okay? No one. And I honestly feel if we were told before we become mothers all of it, we would have a less struggle with identification, what's happening, because partially this overwhelming moment when you have one little one crying, another little one negotiating, in front of you, like big one that you are also trying to figure out, because all of a sudden he also become a father, right? So it's a lot of things at play, and your nervous system in a mode that you've never been and you have never heard. So the key here is this: you didn't lose yourself because you're weak. You lost yourself because that's the adaptation mechanism. You adapted to a certain situation. Okay, your nervous system did its job too well. Okay, too well. Okay, and now let's go deeper a little bit into this issue. Okay, I'm going to see what's the. Okay, so for many women, motherhood doesn't just change identity. Okay, it reopens old patterns. They all of a sudden become people pleasing, fear of being judged, needing to be good enough, over responsibility. I can also tell you that because I'm working a lot, not only just with our nervous system and like our psyche and body and somatic and brain spotting and like hypnosis, I also work a lot with our roots, our ancestors, and how they are, what kind of play our family roots play in our life. Okay, and I can tell you that one of the things that also no one tells us is that when you become a mother, all fears that your mother was carrying with her when she was pregnant or delivering you, all of a sudden, or you had lived with, all of a sudden triggered in you. But no one talks about things like this. So it's a complex situation all of a sudden. But as I said, a lot of people talk about breakdown, a lot of people talking about addictions, like all kind of stuff. But no one talks about this. Okay? So now it's not just I need to take care of my child. Now it becomes I must to do perfectly A, B, C, D. If I'm not doing perfectly, I am failing as a human. Or I need to please these people, and if I don't do it, I'm failing. Or there are fears that all of a sudden float in you, and you don't understand where all of it are coming from. Okay, all of it based on those survival mode that your nervous system goes into. Okay, so and what happened when this goes on too long, when like you don't try to remember who you are or rebuild you will never be able to go back to yourself before children. It's just not happening. But you're not losing your identity. It has to just change. But what happens when it goes too long? You resentment builds. Even if you love your children, and every mother loves her children, but it doesn't matter. Resentment builds up. She resents her husband, her children, the whole world. It's just the way how nature works, psyche, nervous system works. Okay, you feel invisible in your relationship. Hello, of course. Of course, you feel invisible because it's all about somebody else. You may not even, you may even forget what is it that you like from him. You may forget his touch. You may forget his look. Something that at some point was bringing you goosebumps. But now it feels like you don't remember this. Okay? So that's how you're losing. You become invisible in a relationship. You start fantasizing about escape. I remember that when I was very, very tired because I was delivering kids after one, and after like one after another, there was a moment when I felt like, okay, I just need to lay down and don't get up. And I remember that all of a sudden, like my brain on its own went into pictures and like places, how I'm going to sleep in it, what is it that I'm going to do, that I'm going to just open my eyes, eat and go to sleep, and all kind of weird things. And I remember, like, it was so overwhelming for me because I love my family. I have a great husband. I have good children. My conditions where I live, like pretty good, comfortable, and I love it. And I love everything around me. I have a lot of, like little things. And yet I had this fantasy. And my whole body felt like, oh my God, if it's just, if this very moment I would go somewhere, that would be the best thing, that like the pleasure of it in my head was so big. You know what happened next? I felt guilty. Every one of you who had ever had the same, I am pretty sure you felt guilt, because that's natural. Okay? Because it's natural. And you forget what makes you feel alive at some point, because you're becoming a machine in a way. Okay? And if you cannot feel, especially women, we need to feel. We were made by God, by universe, whatever you call it, to feel this life. That's why when we talk to each other, it's about how we feel. It's not so much about what we did. It's, well, I felt this one and this one, and it's very important for us to feel, but we're losing it when we become mother. Okay? And no one talks about, like, you can be a good mother and you can feel deeply unhappy, because this is something that our society thinks that it's not appropriate. Because if you say that you are unhappy, then what is this? You have kids and like, shame on you. A lot of people, they don't have ABCD and you are having all of it, shame on you. So the guilt is constantly there. But it's normal. You love your life, you love your kids, but yet you feel unhappy because you're losing yourself. Every single time when you lose yourself, whether it's motherhood or relationship, or you lost your vision, every single time when you lose yourself, it's bad. Okay? It doesn't mean that you need to give up something, or, well, you need to appreciate that. It's not about this. If you feel unhappy, something got lost, okay? So the truth I want you to hear here is that you are not supposed to disappear in motherhood. You are not. It's not the way how the whole concept of motherhood has been created. You are supposed to expand, okay? But expansion feels like loss when you don't know how to include yourself in this new version of your own life. That's what we're missing. We don't understand that we need to expand, okay? And this is where a lot of people, they have problem with, okay? Because they don't understand that there is one type of life and there is another type of life, and this is a new life, new circumstances, new people, new variables. You need to expand and you need to include yourself in it, okay? Let's make this real and actionable. Not to go to Bali in 2 weeks or something like this, right? Just real life. Something real that you can do in your life without going to Bali, right? So you need to have those micro identity moments. You need to build in your life. For instance, ask yourself daily, what do I want right now? You can put on your phone, like every 2-3 hours, 4 hours, a reminder. Ask yourself, right? The moment clock went on, you ask yourself, what do I want right now? Not what's needed, what's wanted. Okay? So, and give it to you. For instance, stop for a moment. What do I want right now? Well, right now I want to drink. Me personally. Okay, I need to drink. Now feels good. Even that little thing, okay? Because you give something to yourself. Or I feel like I want to stretch. Yeah, give yourself a second. It's not a lot of time. It's like it's something you will find. Your body will signaling you with something very little, very simple, but you need to start acting on it. Then stop earning rest. Just cut it out. Just stop doing it, okay? You don't need to like earning it. So you don't need to deserve time for this yourself. You're not machine, like with performance based breaks. No, just make them for you, okay? Find 1, 2, 3, like just little breaks. Like for instance, you sit down for lunch. That's it. No phones, nothing. Just like 15 minutes. Just do nothing. Relax your shoulder, go through your body. Just when you are scrolling Instagram or something else, it's not rest. It stresses you out. Okay, lay down. It's okay. If somebody will see you, lay down. Just take this rest. You want a nap? If you can, take this nap. Close the door. Let them just go bananas. They will figure out. Everything is going to be fine. Okay, you don't need to do this, like you're not high performance machine. So bring back one thing, not the whole old life, right? Like for instance, just one thing. For instance, I don't know, like music you loved, or a hobby, or way of dressing, or something else. I can tell you when I recognize that I need to kind of, like have, like this kind of like build myself slowly. There is a hobby that I've been, like I've had all my life, and I kind of lost because I got too busy with children, with this and that. So embroidery, and one of the things that I would just do, I would just like do this every moment I could. Okay, and it was a very small thing that I brought in my life, but oh my God, it was so robust. It gave me so much energy. It gave me so much, like feeling good feelings. I mean, it stabilized me. So you start small, but you need to start. Okay, so those are little things that you need to think about and bring it to your life. Okay, it's very important. Yeah, I am definitely a little bit behind my slides, but I am doing all right. Okay, so I want to leave you with this. Your children do not need perfect mother. Your children, they do not need perfect schools, vacations, and all kind of crap that we adults are thinking that our children do need. They don't. Okay? They they need a mother who is alive, who is reacting on their emotions, but at the same time she can laugh. You know, I had something like this in my life because my mom went numb, completely numb when we were little. And she had multiple reasons to do that. She was very tired. She wasn't built for, like motherhood, and it was very hard for her to keep up with marriage because my father wasn't very, like he's not very easy person. He wasn't easy person. I mean, he's better right now, but he wasn't. And I remember that for many years, and I didn't even question. Like I kind of got used to see my mom in a certain way. And then one day when I was a teenager, maybe I was 16 or so, I remember that my mom and we were talking about something, and I was joking about something, and all of a sudden, my mom went hysterical. She was laughing like so out loud and so hard, and and I just froze. I froze because I realized that I've never seen my mom laughing so hard. And I remember this so vividly because I was already into, like I was into psychology and the way how brain works and everything else since I was very, like very young. So I've already kind of like had a lot of questions, and I froze because my mom was displaying such a human behavior, and I felt so happy, and I start laughing with mom because this is the moment. And even right now I'm talking to you about it, and I can hear in my ears that because it was it as I said, it was a huge impact. This situation, like I will never forget it. So, and my mom was alive at that very moment. All of a sudden I realized that, oh my God, my mom is back to life. Okay, so it's very important to have a mother who feels, who exists, okay, who hasn't disappeared. Because when we're not alive, our children, they see only body, they don't see anybody else behind that. They see a mother who is doing certain things, but that's it. There is no, like there is no one who can grab them, who can say, I don't care about those dishes, let's just play, like in those, I don't know, cars or whatever. Okay, so, and this is what our children need. Okay, um because one day they will grow up, and the question is, will you still be there for yourself as yourself? If you're not going to take care of yourself right now with those little things that I just explained to you, you will disappear altogether. Okay? Or you'll meet yourself right now again, or like from scratch. You'll start rebuilding yourself, realizing who are you right now, what has changed, and start doing certain things. Okay, so so this is the part of you that is, like, that is still there. And it's not too late to be back, to get in touch to again with this part. It's not too late, no matter how old your children are. If you are here, if you're listening, that you already have this problem, and just start doing it. And okay, and if you can do it on your own, do it. But a lot of things that I just spoke about, I am doing it with my clients, with people who are working with me, because it's not easy to go back to your identity. It's not easy to figure out, who am I right now? What is it that I really want? Because we have a lot of noise in our ears, in our heads. Like, a lot of people all of a sudden tell us what to do, how to do. They say, "Oh, yeah, I know that you like this." Do I don't care about it. When you ask yourself, by the way, the great um, outcome that will come out of this little first exercise that I told you, when you're going to ask yourself, what do I want, and that very moment you will start listening yourself so well that no one will be able to ever tell you, well, you do this or that, this is good for you or that. So I hope that today information was very, very helpful for you, and hopefully very interesting. Please reach out for me if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon.